Once upon a time in a small town, there lived a girl named Emily, known for her loyalty and kindness. She had found her soulmate in Mark. They had grown up together, sharing laughter, dreams, and plans for a future they both envisioned. Their love was simple yet profound, a bond forged over years of friendship, late-night talks, and shared secrets. However, life has a way of introducing unexpected twists. One evening, during a friend's birthday party, Emily met Anton, a charming newcomer to town. With his magnetic personality and a spark of mystery, he captivated her attention instantly. For the first time in years, Emily felt a flutter in her heart, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Conflicted by this new attraction, she tried to push her feelings aside, reminding herself of her commitment to Mark. Despite her efforts to stay loyal, the more time Emily spent with Anton, the harder it became to resist the feelings growing within her. He was different from Mark, spontaneous, adventurous, and filled with dreams of traveling the world. They bonded over late-night conversations, sharing stories and aspirations that seemed to light a fire in Emily's soul. For a brief moment, she felt alive, caught in a whirlwind of emotions that made her question everything she thought she knew about love. As weeks passed, their connection deepened, and Emily found herself at a crossroads. Torn between her steadfast relationship with Mark and the intoxicating allure of Anton, she struggled with her feelings. Eventually, one hazy evening, succumbing to her desires, she found herself kissing Anton beneath a canopy of stars. In that moment, everything changed, and the weight of guilt settled heavily upon her chest. Returning home that night, Emily felt a mix of exhilaration and dread. She knew she had crossed a line. Mark, who always saw the best in her, remained unaware of the turmoil brewing within her. Every time she looked into his trusting eyes, she felt the sting of betrayal. Days turned into weeks, and the conflict within Emily raged on. She tried to put on a brave face, but her heart was heavy with the burden of her secret. Soon enough, however, the truth could no longer stay hidden. An unguarded moment led to a confrontation, with Mark discovering the messages exchanged between Emily and Anton. Heartbroken and betrayed, Mark felt as though the ground had been pulled from beneath him. Emily's world shattered as she watched the pain in his eyes. She attempted to explain, to apologize, but words felt insufficient. The trust that had taken years to build was now in ruins, and the love they once shared began to fade. In the aftermath, Emily found herself wrestling with guilt and regret. She had chased a fleeting thrill, only to lose the one person who mattered most to her. The vibrant connection she once felt with Anton quickly lost its allure, replaced by the hollow ache of loss. As she navigated her way through the broken pieces of her life, Emily learned a painful lesson about loyalty, love, and the consequences of her choices. With time, she sought redemption, hoping to make amends with Mark, who remained distant. Ultimately, she understood that some wounds take a lifetime to heal, and with each passing day, she vowed to grow from her mistakes, determined to become a better person who would never again take love for granted. As the weeks turned into months, Emily struggled to cope with the weight of her actions. Mark had withdrawn into himself, his laughter replaced by silence, and their shared moments felt like echoes of a life that once was. Emily tried reaching out, hoping to initiate dialogue, but every attempt seemed to push him further away. The distance between them felt insurmountable. On a rainy afternoon, while walking through the town, Emily stumbled upon a quaint little bookstore. It was one of the places she and Mark used to visit together, where they would lose themselves in stories and share their thoughts over steaming cups of coffee. The memories flooded back, nearly overwhelming her. Driven by nostalgia and longing, she stepped inside, hoping to find some solace amongst the pages. As she browsed through the shelves, she came across a book they had once read together, a collection of poems about love and loss. Picking it up, she felt tears prick at her eyes. Each verse spoke to her heart, resonating with her feelings of regret and yearning. In that moment, she decided to pen Mark a letter, expressing her deepest apologies and acknowledging the pain she had caused him. Days turned into weeks again, and Emily held on to that letter, hesitant to send it. She wondered if it would just add to Mark's heartache, or if it might provide the closure they both needed. Finally, with a trembling hand, she slipped the letter into his mailbox, her heart racing as she stepped back and watched the rain begin to fall. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emily received a text from Mark. The message was simple yet filled with weight. "We need to talk." Her heart raced as she felt a mix of hope and dread. The next day, they agreed to meet at their favorite cafe, a spot heavy with memories, but also a place that once held so much joy. Sitting across from each other, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Mark didn't look her in the eyes, and for a moment, Emily feared that all hope was lost. But as she took a deep breath and began to speak, her voice trembled with sincerity. She poured her heart out, recounting her regrets, the emptiness she felt after betraying the love they had shared, and her longing to make things right. As she spoke, Mark listened quietly, the pain in his eyes slowly starting to soften. Finally, he opened up about his own feelings, the shock, the heartache, and the sense of betrayal that had consumed him. "I thought I knew you, Emily. I thought our love was strong enough to withstand anything," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The conversation that followed was raw and emotional. They both laid bare their vulnerabilities, the love they had, the mistakes they made, and the uncertainty of the future. Mark shared how deeply hurt he was, but also how he appreciated Emily's courage in facing the truth. "It'll take time, but I want to understand if we can rebuild this," he said, looking her in the eye for the first time. From that day on, they began a slow journey toward healing. It wasn't easy. They had to face difficult conversations and revisit painful memories. Trust, once broken, remained fragile, but they were committed to working together to nurture it back to life. Emily made a conscious effort to prove herself. Little by little, she showed Mark that she was learning from her mistakes. They began going on small outings, sharing their thoughts, and rediscovering the little things that had drawn them together in the first place. It was a long and sometimes painful process, but they both knew that love, if tended with care, could blossom again. Months later, while sitting on the same bench where they had shared countless dreams, Mark took Emily's hand and spoke the words she had yearned to hear. "I forgive you." As tears of joy streamed down her face, Emily realized that while the past would always remain part of her story, it didn't define her. Together, they were writing a new chapter, one of resilience, growth, and renewed love. Their relationship would never be the same, but with every step they took forward, they were building something stronger. Emily had learned that love is not just about perfection. It's about honesty, vulnerability, and the courage to confront the darkness. And although the road ahead remained uncertain, they were ready to walk it together, hand in hand, committed to their journey of love and healing.